Yeah, so first of all, I'm really proud of the content that's been created so far, and certainly I think it's a good launching point for what we're going to try to continue to do. I'm a big believer, and obviously I put my money where my mouth was by starting a business behind it. But I'm a big believer that as much as people want to have a dialogue about spending 7 figures of someone else's money to reconfigure premium seat areas, I believe, having been around Teambo, and I believe having worked with a lot of the NBA teams and Major League Soccer teams, there's a real desire to become much better at the sales process to grow outside of being just, we're a professional sports team, you should buy our premium seating. And that has really encouraged me working in sports over the last few years. And so there's tons of stuff you can read on business to business, but as we discussed in the first segment, genuine business to business there's a difference between selling sports and selling a traditional business to business, how most business to business sales books are written. So I believe there is an opportunity and a desire to have a higher level of discourse on the sales process itself. And how do we go from never having talked to a company to having them sign a 10-year, a 7-year suite lease deal in the process. So not just that we designed it and it looks cool, but what are the steps that take place in between that first reach out and the time it's signed? How do you manage it? How do you think about it? How do you manage a pipeline to ensure success? What is an appropriate amount of pipeline or tracking that comes into place to do it? How do we think about the engagement process? How do we think about what we're trying to drive out of the meetings to be able to do it? How do we think about talking about proposals and doing it? How do we, there's a million topics. I wrote a bunch of them down. There's a million topics that need to be covered, and that there are plenty of business books, business blogs that you can read, but it needs to be covered in sports. And I do believe that when you look at some people that have been doing some of the podcasts and stuff in sports, there is very good content coming out from those people every once in a while about it, but nobody is making this a consistent focus in terms of what they're doing. So how can we work with some of those people who are already doing this stuff, organizing some of the stuff that they're doing? Obviously, I've got a passion for it, so taking a lot of my thoughts and putting it out there, but then extending the conversation into that community, and seeing what the people that are in that space, what's the dialogue that they want to have too. So there's a ton of stuff that we'll talk about, that we want to talk about. But I think that's really the starting point, and I'm excited about it.